Good afternoon, and welcome to another edition of Second Take, where we take you behind the real deal's top journalism. I'm Hiten Samtani, Associate Publisher. I'm here today with Georgia Kromrei, and we're here to talk about her most recent story, which just hit the site today, about calls for a national rent strike. Now, this is pretty incredible. Tenants all across the country are organizing and prepping for what could be one of the most devastating things for landlords and the rental market. So, Georgia, nutty story, really, really fun, really, really interesting, and with pretty giant consequences for landlords, I would say. So what could this, if this actually came together, if this rent strike did happen in multiple cities across the country, what could that mean for the overall multifamily market?
Right. So that's a good question. I mean, already by the 8th of the month, 30% of renters hadn't paid rent. That's 10 or 15% more than usual. And landlords do expect more to pay rent in the following days, but renters and tenant organizers are really hoping to leverage renters who are able to pay rent and those who are unable to pay rent, get those two groups together and make a point to the state government and the federal government by withholding these rents from landlords. So it's not the typical situation for a rent strike, which is usually building based. It's centered around correcting immediate conditions.
Heat in 1 month. We
Right.
haven't had hot water in 6 months. We're not going to pay rent. That's your tip.
Right. Exactly. It's a demand of the landlord, and the landlord is positioned to meet that demand by, improving conditions and thereby restoring cash flow. That's how it works. Landlords are very logical. But in this case, the demands are not of the landlords. They're of the state and federal government, but the landlords are the ones who are going to be feeling the squeeze in the immediate future.
It would be collateral damage, essentially, right? Landlords would be collateral damage for what is a movement to say. What do they hope for? I guess both landlords and tenants have been looking to the government, to the federal government and state governments to provide a solution. What are the two, I guess, biggest things they're looking for?
Yeah, so it's actually a rare moment of agreement between tenants and landlords, although they're not really talking to each other in those sorts of terms. Renters and landlords both agree that the state and federal government is best positioned to provide some sort of relief for them. I think landlords, by and large, would prefer that something be done to stabilize the cash flow rents coming in. So whether that's a direct subsidy or an expansion of the Section 8 program, for example, vouchers for rent. That's what landlords would like to see. That's the thing that would keep their cash flow in place. But tenants are pushing for something a bit more radical, which is canceling rent. And also lots of tenant groups are pushing for mortgages to be canceled at the same time, seeing that renters and landlords right now really are in the same situation of their rent flow, their livelihood being threatened by the coronavirus.
So what does that mean, though? I don't think we quite really unpacked that. What do you mean by cancel rent? It's private property, right? So what does that mean?
Right. There are lots of questions about how something like that could be enforced. In New York, there's a postponement of mortgage payments for single-family homes that really surprised a lot of people. That was by executive order a couple of weeks ago. But it's unclear how something like that for the multifamily market could be enforced. So it may be a little bit of wishful thinking on legislators. There was a bill that came up to try and cancel rent or at least reduce rent and reduce mortgages similarly in New York, but it kind of fizzled before the state budget was passed. And it's not really clear what path that legislation has going forward.
Okay. And last question, I think, how real is this thing, right? Your story has some incredible details, and I hope all our readers check it out, but it has some incredible details about this thermometer that maps your progress all the way from, pressuring the landlord to driving outside their house in car protests, all the way to a full-on rent strike. But how real is this? If I am a landlord in New York with tons of rent-stabilized units, a lot of our readers happen to fall into that category, how worried should I be that this is actually a thing and not just a lot of hot air and posturing?
Well, I think we will find out very soon. A lot of landlords said that their cash flow was pretty much in place beginning of April, but a lot of tenants are gearing up for a strike starting May 1st, including there are groups in Queens that are saying that they will not pay rent starting May 1st for 90 days. So I think it's something that landlords should definitely keep track of. It's something that tenant organizers are working on day and night on Zoom, Skype, messaging apps. They are taking this very seriously. So I think the multifamily sector should as well.
And fair to say that you'll be tracking what happens so readers can follow your stuff?
Definitely.
Okay, perfect. Georgia, thank you so much. This has been another edition of Second Take. I do urge you to check out Georgia's story. It is pretty wild, and it has far-reaching consequences for all aspects of the rental market. Thank you so much. Talk soon.